What if someone is controlling your thoughts without raising their voice, without making obvious demands, and without you ever realizing it? Not with force, not with threats, but with quiet words, subtle reactions, and small emotional shifts that slowly change how you think. Because the truth is, the most dangerous manipulation doesn't feel like manipulation. It feels normal. Imagine this. You're talking to someone, maybe a friend, a coworker, or even someone close to you. At first, everything feels fine, but over time, something starts to feel off. You explain how you feel about something, and somehow, the conversation ends with you apologizing. You share an opinion. And later, you start questioning if you were wrong to even think that way. You walk into conversations feeling confident, but leave feeling confused, guilty, or strangely unsure of yourself. Nothing dramatic happens. No shouting, no obvious conflict, just quiet confusion that slowly builds over time. And the strangest part, you can't clearly explain what went wrong. You just feel different. Here's something most people don't realize. Manipulation doesn't always look aggressive. In fact, the most effective manipulation is subtle. It works by slowly shifting your perception, not forcing you, but guiding you. Little by little, until your thoughts begin to change. Psychologically, humans rely heavily on trust and emotional connection. When we trust someone, we lower our defenses. We listen more closely. We doubt ourselves more quickly. We give others the benefit of the doubt, even when something feels wrong. And that's exactly where hidden influence begins. Not with control, but with confusion. The scary part is, it doesn't look like manipulation. It feels like normal conversation, normal disagreements, normal emotions. But beneath the surface, there are patterns, small behaviors that repeat, subtle reactions that slowly shift your confidence. And once you recognize these patterns, you start seeing things differently. Because there are signs, 7 quiet signs, that someone might be using dark psychology on you without you realizing it. You remember something clearly, a conversation, a promise, a moment that felt important. But when you bring it up, they respond calmly. That never happened. You're remembering it wrong. You always exaggerate things. At first, you defend yourself. But over time, you start second-guessing your own memory. Not because you're wrong, but because repetition creates doubt. And doubt creates control. Whenever conflict happens, you react naturally. You feel frustrated, confused, maybe hurt. But they remain perfectly calm. Not peaceful. Controlled. They speak slowly, carefully, almost as if they're studying your reaction. And the more emotional you become, the calmer they appear. This creates an invisible imbalance. You start to feel like the problem, like your emotions are the issue. Even when the situation itself caused them, something goes wrong. Maybe a misunderstanding, maybe a mistake. At first, it seems like they might take responsibility. But slowly, the conversation shifts. They bring up something you said days ago, or mention how your reaction made things worse. And before you realize it, the focus is no longer on what happened. It's on what you did wrong. Not loudly, not aggressively, just quietly, until blame settles where it was never meant to be. Sometimes they compliment you. They tell you you're smart, capable, talented. And for a moment, you feel valued. But later, they quietly pull that feeling away. A small comment, a subtle criticism. You did good, but not as good as I expected. That was nice, but you could have done better. It creates a cycle. You begin chasing their approval, working harder, trying more, hoping for validation that never fully stays. Not because you need praise, but because they made you depend on it. You feel guilty, but you're not exactly sure why. You replay conversations in your head, wondering if you said something wrong or reacted the wrong way. They don't accuse you directly. Instead, they act disappointed, quiet, slightly distant, and without them saying much, you start apologizing, even when you don't fully understand what you did. Because guilt, especially unclear guilt, makes people easier to control. At first, nothing seems intentional. They question your friends, make subtle comments about people around you. They don't really understand you. They don't care about you like I do. Not aggressively, just quietly, over time. Slowly, your world becomes smaller. Not because they demanded it, but because they made others seem less trustworthy. Until one day, they become the voice you listen to the most. And sometimes, the only one. This is the most dangerous sign, because it doesn't attack your actions. It attacks who you believe you are. Every disagreement ends the same way. You feel responsible. You feel flawed. You feel like you're always the difficult one. Even when situations are complicated, even when both sides played a role, the conclusion is always the same. You're the problem. And when someone starts believing that about themselves, they stop questioning the person causing it. Imagine someone working in a small office. At first, their coworker seems helpful, supportive, friendly. They offer advice, give suggestions, even defend them in meetings. But slowly, small things begin to change. The coworker starts correcting their memory of conversations. They stay calm during disagreements, while the other person becomes visibly stressed. Mistakes are quietly redirected, until responsibility always lands on the same shoulders. Weeks turn into months, and without realizing it, the person who once felt confident now hesitates before speaking. They second-guess decisions. They replay conversations at night, not because they're weak, but because confusion has replaced clarity. Here's the truth most people don't talk about. Manipulation doesn't work because people are foolish. It works because people are human. Humans trust. Humans care. Humans want harmony, especially with people close to them. We assume others mean well. We ignore small warning signs because we want relationships to feel safe. And when confusion appears, we often blame ourselves first, not them, because self-doubt feels easier than accepting that someone might be influencing us in ways we didn't expect. Sometimes awareness begins quietly, not with confrontation, not with dramatic realizations, but with noticing patterns. Moments where conversations leave you confused. Situations where blame feels heavier than it should. Emotions that don't quite match what actually happened. Awareness doesn't mean suspicion. It simply means paying attention to how interactions make you feel and how often those feelings repeat. Because patterns reveal what words try to hide. The truth is, dark psychology doesn't always look dark. It looks polite, calm, even caring. And that's what makes it dangerous. Because the strongest control is not the one that forces you. It's the one that slowly changes how you see yourself. Until you stop trusting your own mind. And sometimes, the most dangerous influence in your life is the one you never noticed was there.